Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit about a country that I love dearly, that I've been to quite a few times and look to return to here in the near future for an extended period of time for some work related things. And that's the nation of South Korea. It's referred to there as Korea, so that's how I'm going to refer to it from now on. And what really shocked me and blew my mind when I visited this country, or the multiple times that I've visited this country, and how it is starkly different than a place like the United States. Now, every country has their plus and minuses. You need to find what fits for you. But there were a lot of things that really shocked me and took me out of what I felt reality was when I left the United States and went to this place, and can really help change your perspective on what life can be and what's possible, and what kind of societies can exist. I feel like in America we're so contained in just being in America, or America and Canada. Americans never really travel outside of North America in general, or the continental United States. You never really get a good look at what other cultures are like and how they operate and how they do things differently and how life works there. I enjoyed all the times I've been to Korea. I've really enjoyed it and felt desensitized to an extent to the things that I dislike in the United States. So I'll start off right off the bat here. What were the things that were really shocking to me? And maybe something you should explore traveling to in the future if you would enjoy these perks. So, number one was the fitness levels of the people, and specifically also the women. So I'm going to pull up a tab here. When you land in South Korea, it's like landing in a different universe than the United States. We know that lack of fitness is an issue in the United States. That's just a reality of the statistics. But when you land in a place like Korea, lack of fitness does not exist amongst the people. And if you look at the statistics there, some statistics have, lack of fitness levels at 5%, some have them a little higher. But I've been to many parts of the country. I've been walked around most populous areas, more rural areas. You will not find people who are significantly overweight or obese at all. I have yet to see one. So, for example, like this is a photo of Myeongdong Market, which is an area in Seoul. This is actually a heavily touristed area as well. But if you just walk around the streets of Seoul or anywhere in the cities that are in Korea, you will notice that not only can you not find a lot of overweight people and people who lack fitness, you will struggle to find one person who is out of shape. It really is that shocking when you go there, how much the culture is different in terms of physical fitness and food consumption habits, which Koreans do a lot of eating. They enjoy their meals. So if you go there and you meet Korean people, they eat all the time, but they're also super healthy because they walk everywhere. The food they're eating isn't conveyor belt garbage most of the time. A lot of times it's either fresh things they cook at home in their apartments, or what they might get cooked fresh at a night market or a restaurant that's not a chain. A lot of the times it's fresh. It's meat, it's noodles, it's rice, it's things that are not filled with fats and cheeses and creams and breads like we do in America, which all that stuff is great, but it's very easy for people to overindulge on. The sugary things are not quite as common here, although you can find them in the night markets. But overall, there's just a culture of physical fitness and beauty standards that are just so much different than what we're used to in the United States. And I know people within Korea have criticisms of the beauty standards. Whether they like it or not, it keeps the people healthy to a degree. And so that's the first thing you'll notice is you'll become so desensitized. It's like it was tough for me coming back to the United States after being in a place like Korea where everyone is fit, everyone is healthy, particularly all the women are fit and healthy. And that is just like not something you need to worry about when you're there if you're, looking for people to date or you're evaluating the attractiveness of the women. It's just not an issue. Like I'm trying to think of all the places I've been. It might be one out of every 20 25 of the women, the younger women, are out of shape. You will see people in their more older ages have a little bit more weight, but you'll never see people who are like 300 pounds overweight. I've never seen a Korean who's like over 250 pounds, like rarely ever seen it. And that's common amongst most populations. When they age, they get a little heavier. That just comes with aging. But in terms of like the younger women between, 18 to 35, 40, said maybe 1 in 25 might be slightly out of shape, compared to what it's like in the US, where it's like 70% of the women are out of shape. So it's very interesting to evaluate these things. Most of the guys are in shape. I hardly see men that are, overweight at all. It's just not a part of their culture, and it just doesn't happen. And it really speaks volumes to what people emphasize there. So that is one of the craziest things that I've noticed. Secondly, is the modesty standards amongst the women are significantly different in a place like Korea. It is an Asian culture, and you can look this up, but this article kind of lays it out, I think, very, very well. While Koreans are not overtly conservative, expecting you to cover yourself from head to toe, they're a lot more modest than, for example, many Western countries like the United States. My goodness. The rules are a bit different between men's and women's fashion. That's true. And for men, this mainly means keeping your shirt on at all times. Yeah, I mean, even at the beaches, I didn't really notice men having their shirt off a lot, unless you're specifically in the water. And for women, it's a bit more complex, but it's typically best to avoid wearing a low cut top or one that exposes your shoulders or stomach. This is true. For women, you'll never see shoulders. You'll never see cleavage at all. Their entire chest is covered. Typically, their entire stomach is covered. This is just how things work. Another article, Exploring Korean Fashion Norms, Why Exposed Shoulders and Plunging Necklines Are Still Taboo. That's absolutely true from what I have observed. So if you feel like the United States is like an over sexualized dystopia, when you come to Korea, there's some sexualization of women in, I would say, different ways. When you come to Korea, just walking out on the street in general, you almost will feel like you're gaining your sensibilities back. Like you're not getting just harassed with sexualized content, both from people and how they dress and what you see on the TVs and their pop culture there. It's just not the same as America, where it's just like the standards for dressing in America are just completely gone. I talked about that in a different video, but people either dress like slobs or completely immodestly, and no one seems to care. You will get desensitized to that when you're in Korea. People actually dress respectfully. The women dress modestly across the board. I never saw one woman in public in Korea ever have like, cleavage out or not have their shoulders covered. There are some shorter skirts and things like that, but that's even kind of pushing it for there. You'll also never see tattooed women ever in Korea. I couldn't find one. Maybe they're covering them up, and that's fine. That works, but I never saw it. So that gives you an idea of what it is like there and what their standards are there. It's completely different. I remember coming back from Korea to the United States and then walking out in public in the United States in a city or whatever and going, oh, this is just way more degenerate than what I experienced in Korea. And over time, I remember talking to someone I was traveling with in Korea. It's like I felt myself getting desensitized from the just sexualized nature of American Western culture. You don't know how bad it is till you go somewhere else. And when I finally went somewhere else, I realized how bad it was in America. So that is very interesting. That was one of the things that really was shocking to me. The third thing is the amazing customer service. There's tons of testimonials here and people on Reddit, which Reddit's not always the most reliable source. But someone does say, can anyone explain what customer service is so friendly in Korea? It is immaculate customer service. And I know this because I have a couple different countries to gauge it against. America, I think, and compared to most of the world, many people say America has good customer service. And I think results may vary in America, is what I would say. But in general, customer service is fairly good, I would say, in the United States. Korea, it's like on another level, and these people don't even get tips. So restaurants, airports, stores, doesn't matter. These people go like above and beyond to help the customer. It's pretty insane what you witness, and these people are incredibly respectful to you in all regards. Their respect culture is still deeply ingrained. So you'll never have employees mouthing off to you ever, which will happen in the United States. And sometimes it's justified. We've got some crappy customers here in the United States as well. So, but a lot of the times in Korea, you're not going to get that. You're going to get just across the board amazing customer service, never lip service, never attitude, going above and beyond. It's absolutely shocking. It's really shocking. And just from me trying to make travel plans in a country like Colombia and working with the people part of the travel, hotels and airports and stuff. Oh my goodness. I mean, these canyons could not be wider, right? The canyon could not be bigger between like customer service in a place like Asia and South America, right? All countries are different. All countries have their pluses and minuses, but that's one of the gaping differences, I would say, between my experiences there. And then the United States is somewhere in the middle, more towards, I would say, good customer service, but it really is mind blowing how good it is. And when you come back to America, you will kind of miss the very respectful culture there that is amongst, people in the working industries. And then the last thing would be, I would say, safety. Safety is a big interesting thing in Korea. It is a very, very safe place to live in general. Even Seoul, which is this massive city, it's really hard to, I will not say really hard, but it feels very, very safe. I remember sometimes me and the person I was traveling with to Seoul, we were kind of outside the touristy area and walking around, didn't really know where we were going. We never felt unsafe once. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. That's where cities like Portland and Seattle are. These places are hellholes with crime, and you never want to leave, the touristy areas. You want to stay, in the safe places as much as possible, and do not venture outside of there. And that's typically the advice you give to being anywhere in a big city, anywhere around the world. But specifically in Asia, specifically in Korea, you're going to be feeling very, very safe. You can have your phone out like all the time, and never have a concern. They say no dark papaya in Colombia. In Korea, it almost feels like dark papaya. Like you can do anything and not run into trouble, and people will not take advantage of you. Doesn't mean crime doesn't happen. Doesn't mean scams haven't happened in Seoul. I'm sure it has, but compared to the places I've been to in America, and then when you go to Korea, you feel very, very safe. You never feel unsafe there. And it's a very nice feeling. And I know in a lot of like red areas and rural areas in America, it's incredibly safe. And that's great. If you're from one of those places, you'll feel right at home. But when you live in a high crime area like I have basically my whole life, it is nice to be in an area where you feel a lot safer. There's police everywhere, but they're not armed with guns. There's no guns in the nation. And I'm not getting into that debate, but I'm just saying no one really has firearms, but there are police everywhere generally. So it feels pretty safe. And I've never ever once felt threatened in Korea ever. Never ever felt unsafe once. So those are I would say, four things that really kind of shocked me when I went to Korea and then came back to America and went, man, these things are very, very different. I want to know, have you ever been to Korea or a foreign country, and what shocked you about the differences between that country and America? I would like to hear your thoughts down below. Remember, you don't know how good your life can get, and God bless.